Yes, thank you for being able to give us this platform to be able to share our messages with you. We did want to push you both into having this conversation with us because it is time for you to hear it very clearly, and we almost want to speak slowly for you to be able to hear us, because what we want to say to you, even though it's not new information, you're still missing the point of it all in some regards. So we're going to give you this again for you to meet the missing pieces of your puzzle for why you are here. And we are talking to the light workers. We are talking to the starseeds. We are talking to those who are not originally from this planet. Now we know you're saying to us, because supposedly we don't know. So you want to remind us that we're all part of Source. Yes, that is true. Many of you, all of you, are from Source. And you've come down to have these experiences. We're wanting to say that there are original experiences for this planet. Those souls who have never had any other physical lifetimes on any other planet. They are humanoid bodies, having human experiences, wanting to master the experiences of all this planet has to offer. We call them humans. We call them earthlings. We call you many names. If your original physical lifetime is on Earth, we are supporting you at this time because your planet, your home planet, is about to go through some extraordinary changes. You may not be aware of what changes they are, and we are very aware, but we are supporting those who need to be evacuated from this planet at this time when the shift occurs. We will nurture them and support them with many of our smaller extensions of ourselves through this transition period, through the shift. This is going to be a significant event because not only will the humans be physically upgraded to evolve, they will be shifting location to go with their consciousness of their Earth as she also evolves into a fifth dimensional vehicle, which has been created for her, which has been created for the humans to continue on in their destiny, in their experiences of having the complete experience of all the full range that a physical lifetime can offer. It is a very expansive experience at this point, but it is a rich one, rich in experiences, all the ranges of experiences, complex emotions, complex experiences, which are very multi-layered and can be, in its totality, in its completion, a very marvelous experience, a very extraordinary experience. And when you have to dissect all the experiences, you will find in its totality, neutral, duality. We say the 3D version of the experiences on this planet is one spectrum, and the new Earth in its fifth dimension experience has the matching experiences, balance, duality. All of them will be complete when those earthlings then graduate onto and out through the fifth dimension. Many, many, many issues are being caused here now in this 3D dimension because many think that this is it. Many think and overreact to situations because they're wanting to have their complete life experience. They're forgetting about what the fifth dimension will offer them. They forget the full experience in the physical lives. We are wanting to come back to the light workers now and their role, who are not originally from this planet, who have experienced their own 3D dimensional lessons and learning. They've come here now to help support. They've come here now not only to awaken to the situation at hand of what has taken this planet into a very deep, dark density. They were supposed to awaken up for themselves to be able to help others. Most have got lost. Most have given up. Most are buying into the 3D drama. This is not their purpose. This was never their purpose, to get stuck. Many have taken their egos and gone away with them. They identify being their higher selves. They identify with being their subconsciouses. They are not. They are merely small aspects. It's not a given you will get an easy pass to New Earth. You have to raise your vibration to the fifth to be able to shift along with humanity. You understand, if your origin is not this planet, you do not get to simply just go along with them. You must do more than what most of the light workers are doing. They've awoken themselves and that's it. They think, good job me. How special am I? I'm holding the light. Are you? Are you really? It looks like you're holding it for yourself. It looks like you're not sharing it. It looks like you are distracting yourselves with your own importance. This is a love message from you, from us to you. This is a message from your subconsciouses and your higher selves and your collectives. We see all. We see you and your choices you're making. Congratulations, you've woken up. What next? We ask of you. What next? Because many of you will be absorbed back into source when the shift occurs. We would like to say that it's not as many as you would think that need to support humanity, because so many have awoken up and are doing the true service to help them. Many are not of service. Many are not growing as they should. Many are looking and comparing themselves to original humans and saying, well, look at them and look how silly they are and dense they are, and they're completely oblivious. They're buying into all the fear factors. I'm so much more advanced than them because I know the truth. Well, you don't know the truth because you don't know their contract and your contract, and you aren't of service if you're still judging and comparing those who are original earthlings to yourselves. We want to say most people who are listening to this session are not original earthlings. You understand why? They are still focusing on mastering their own experiences. We feel that our message today is from frustration, but it is not. It's observation. To remind the light workers what you're supposed to be doing here. You're not supposed to be prancing around boasting that you're light workers and that you're higher dimensional beings. Technically, even the original earthlings are high dimensional because they're still part of source. So check your egos, because many of you are tripping up over yourselves, and it's not privately, it is very public, because we can see you all, even in the privacy of your own home. And we feel like this could be considered peer pressure from us, and many people's egos will be triggered because they don't like to be told that they are idling. Many are idling. Many of you still think that Emotions are going to inhibit you. The reality is you're blocking yourselves because you don't want to share your bigger truths and your own journeys because you think you're still going to be called crazy or silly or something else. And you're still emotionally reacting to judgment of others. There is not that much strength of empowerment, of love of self, if you're still worried about words that others will say who are still asleep. Why are you still holding back is what you should be asking yourself. We have to trigger you today to be able to make you look at this. Really look at your behavior and your responses and how you've still got that attitude of division. You've still got this attitude of, I'm an awoke being. I'm so special. Look at those stupid people who are following the systems. That mentality themselves does not give you unconditional compassionate love to all. You are distancing yourself as if they're the plague. You know your Jesus has said something quite different to that. You're supposed to love and consider and have compassion for all and not feel that it's too much of your effort to be bothered with the 3D and those people who are still living in it. That is literally your life contract and purpose. Can we not yell that out to you anymore? You should be so mastered with your emotions that it doesn't bother you, their fear, their worry, their drama. You should be neutral by this point. Why are you not? Why are you still playing the human game? You are not. Behave as if you are of service. Because the delays are now on you, light workers. You are supposed to be of service. Remember that. You were supposed to have woken up, empower yourself to be able to help to be of service. Do you not see that this is part of the problem? Do you not see that this is your responsibility? You cannot do other people's inner work, but have you truly done your own? Have you truly done your own? Or have you just assumed because you know that you're a starseed or that you've had other bigger lifetimes that you can just glide on through, expect everyone else to pick up after you, to pick up after humanity? Question your actions. Are you of full service? Or are you half mildly interested and entertained and bored and waiting for others to do their work? We could be here for eternity if we didn't support those who are still struggling. Find the difference from how you have behaved. We ask politely and kindly of you to listen and consider, to check yourself, to see where you can do some improvements to support others and yourself. There is no excuses for time anymore. And we say that in air quotation marks. We understand that there is Erin who is waiting with questions. Have we explained our concerns for those light workers and starseeds and whatever else they want to call themselves at this point who are not original to this planet?
Yes, thank you. Very important for us to hear. So I appreciate your messages on that. The questions that we were wanting to ask were specific to Nibiru. There are a lot of pictures of Nibiru online, which brought up a lot of questions for us, such as, is that planet becoming more visible to more people at this time?
Yes, indeed, it is many home planet. It is for many their home planet, even though it is being passed out as some propaganda or some other nonsense. That ship is there waiting. And when the shift happens, you would be surprised to find out that the majority of these starseeds, that is their home planet that they will return to.
Oh, that is interesting. About the simulation and how they experience life on that that ship. Could you go into more detail? We were hoping to understand
Yes.
a little bit more about that.
As you know, the Earthlings will be put onto these ships to take into their new Earth, and they will be acclimatized for many reasons and for many aspects while they are merged into their crystalline bodies and they are being upgraded that way. We want to say that those beings who are still stuck in the 3D that need some more support, they will be transported to the Nibiru and they will have similar experiences. They will be hooked up to a simulation and they will have their exploration that way. And we're saying that they are not the original Earthlings that will go to Nibiru and have those third dimensional experiences. Many who have signed up for this lifetime to be here on Earth still want to master the challenge of this third dimension. So if they haven't been able to do it themselves naturally, they will be given the support of going to Nibiru and being connected into a simulation to be able to have a softer version of mastering their lessons that they are still needing to do. Often it's a lot of their inner work that they're having to see from a different perspective. It will be simultaneous. They will not realize that they have made the shift themselves. They will not notice the disasters themselves. There is many that will be learning lessons while they are in that simulation. Then they will either have the experience of what you would call a natural death, and then their souls can go back to thoughts, or their souls can then potentially graduate, either awaken to their own simulation, being on that ship, being on that planet of what they call their new Earth, because it is a continuation, but they will remember who they are, awaken to their lives, and that they are on their original home planet, or a planet that they have enjoyed previously before signing up to this lifetime. Remembering that they want to have those lessons to complete the 3D. You can't escape it unless you're going back to source, unless you're just, your subconscious and higher self just needed the hope of an opportunity to see. We want to say this, and this may upset many, but this is not our intention. A farmer, let's say a farmer called your higher self through hundreds of seeds onto the land, knowing that not all of the seeds will propagate, grow, and be able to yield any benefit for the higher self. The higher self will be the farmer and will see some of those plants struggling to thrive. The farmer knows that it could prune out the weak. The farmer knows what looks strong and what will allow and encourage that plant to thrive, knowing that that plant is taking nutrients, knowing that plant is taking space. The higher self knows the difference between enabling and disempowering those plants. You understand what we're saying at this time?
I actually am confused on that. Do you mean that non-native Earthlings who did not master the 3D will be going there to finish up those lessons, and then from there the higher self will decide where it needs to go next?
When the shift occurs, those weak plants will mostly go to source because they're just not thriving. They're not taking their responsibilities and their opportunities to flourish. Those that do look strong that do look like they are wanting to grow will go to be using that space, using that energy that has been offered into Nibiru, remembering that the higher self, the farmer, doesn't need 100 plants to grow to be able to get all its experiences. It only needs a few. The higher self, the farmer, wants to have the experiences of most, doesn't need the experiences of all. And while you are in this planet thinking you're pretty hot stuff because you're connected to a higher self, because a farmer planted you, if you're not growing and if you're not thriving to what your higher self needs, remembering we don't know what the higher self needs, you're either going to be weeded out or nurtured and supported. If you are taking up more space or more nutrients than you are providing the farmer, there is going to be a cut. This may sound horrendous, but the higher self is in control of that. And while you're on this 3D planet, using up all of your time with your free will, ultimately, it is your subconscious and higher self that get to make the prune. It is not source. It is different from that. So while you're all part of source and you're all advanced beings because you're connected to source and you're connected to your higher self and you're connected to all the other versions of self, it is your responsibility to be doing what you have been destined to do. Making assumptions that you know what is your destination could be foolish for many when they are identifying being the farmer and not the plant.
Great analogy. Thank you. Does the Nibiru collective of collectives have a message for their starseeds?
Yes, they certainly do. Thank you. It's not an easy thing for those to see this planet because they rub their eyes, they think it's an optical illusion. This is very concerning for them, especially when others cannot see it. Others miss it. This is a strange time for them because they know something big is happening. They know that they're being called upon something. The energy is it's strengthening. And so as that planet is getting closer to them energetically, they're feeling this pull and this pressure. They're feeling this homesick, that they're feeling like they want to just pack up all of their physical beings to move somewhere else, to like a new location on this planet. They're getting itchy feet. They literally want to move. It's very concerning for those who don't understand why. This is a very strange time for them because they're not really aware of the full purpose that they're here. And so they are starting to talk amongst themselves, but it sounds too strange. Why is this information about this other planet not being discussed on the news? Of course, you know why truth is being hidden, why truth has been edited out of your own awareness, why truth has been distorted for you, from you. You understand this. So they are seeking out communities that can support them through this experience. Often they don't want to see it because it's confusing to them. And then once they see it, they have to know the truth. They hold the truth. They want to deny the truth. They're confused about the truth because it is not public. So then they find other like-minded people that they are often suspicious of being potentially crazy themselves, but they have had this experience, so they know it was not created in their illusions. It was very real, very real. And so this is a struggle because even in those communities, there seems like they should be all like-minded, but yet they've all got very different personalities, different agendas, different hopes and dreams, different understandings of the purpose of what they are actually seeing. So they want to find each other to support each other, but it's still just a different concoction of different personalities merged in together. You don't need to fully agree with each other's different perspectives, but you all need to support each other, seeing what you have seen, feel what you have felt. Time will come when you find yourself back on that planet and you will laugh how thick the veil of forgetfulness was in your experience and journey here now.
Wonderful. The Anunnaki seem to be brought up quite a bit in reference to Nibiru. Do they have anything to do with the ship Nibiru that is being seen right now?
Mhm. We want to be able to be crass with you, just so you can understand it. You know that when you get a group of people together, you can have the idiot, the fool, the joker, the scholar, the balanced, rounded person, the sports person, the etc. etc. We want to say that the Anunnaki are the same. They have different personalities. They have different agendas. We want to say that we didn't even need to use an analogy. That was what you would say, mansplaining this to you. So we apologize. We will say, brace yourself to discover that there is actually some well-balanced different beings that have been called Anunnaki. It is not a surprise to many to know that there is many differences amongst one species. And so there are souls from the Anunnaki collective, but they are more in balance. So they are like, they want to come in now and say, can we blame our backwards cousins for what has happened to this planet? Because they were what you could consider cowboys, and we are more scholars. So this is, they are owning that they have tried to help and support those who have a different agenda. But as you know, you can't force others. They have their own free will. They have their own agendas. You would hope that all have the same agenda to be able to help those on this planet at this time, because we know the lifespan of their planet. So you think that we would all be wanting to support each other with that, but many want to have extensions of this life on this planet. Many think that they are, again, it comes back to many of the Anunnaki starseeds still have their own attitudes about them being bigger advanced beings, so they're entitled to this planet. They're entitled to whoever is left over on this planet. And so you can see it's not just people in 3D that have that ego about them, thinking that they're entitled to all if they choose. It is not always the case. So there is a mixed variety of all. And so it is nothing to be afraid of. You assume that if you have a label on you, that is a stigma. And we say this about all starseeds from their collectives that are supporting them the most. You judge still in your 3D mindsets. You still quiver when you think about reptilians because you don't have that maturity to see their or respect their purpose in their lives, their life contracts. So it's about maturity of spirituality and where you're at. So we say don't get stuck on labels, and your starseed labels are a label. So you should be more concerned about agenda. Where is the compassion of that being? What is their motivations? You forget about those things. They seem to be a given. You assume that because you are an X, a Y, a Z from a star seed, that therefore you must be all pure and good and basically source. You know that's not true. So why do you hold on to the labels of it? We want to remind you and take you back to that farmer's field. And the farmer is growing tomatoes, shall we say? Tomatoes, tomatoes. We want you to look now at that green tomato and all the different versions of tomatoes that those plants can grow, to the rotten tomato at the very end of that life cycle of the tomato. Now, would you accept eating all of those ranges of tomatoes, knowing that they're all very different? You have a preference of how you like to consume your tomato. You wouldn't necessarily want to eat them on the other extremes. You wouldn't judge them all for being the same, would you? So why do you judge starseeds or collectives being the same? They're not. They have the range. And why do they have the range? We'll tell you once again, for the full experiences. Just like the tomato wants to have the full experience from being that green tomato all the way to be the rotten tomato, to then be able to have the seeds fall down and create new parts, new life, new plants for those experiences. Do you see the cycle of life here?
Yes, I do. I understand that bad versus good is a very 3D concept, and I certainly respect all collectives. There, I was referencing there seems to be a common theme with Nibiru posts tying in the Anunnaki, and I didn't know if they were at all associated with that shift that they'll be experiencing. Not in a bad way, but are they somehow tied to it, or are those just two separate experiences going on in two separate locations?
Judgmental people will say that the Nibiru is bad because Anunnaki are associated with it. And we say, okay, you very immature spiritual person, you run with that perspective and see how far you evolve. See how far your limitations and your disinformation spreads and supports you. There's a choice that you are willing to take on. See how your farmer responds to that. And we say that it is a distraction and it is a fear-based information that they're trying to share and spread when you don't understand, when you still have judgment and limitations on the bigger picture. Remembering those would almost be the same people that are talking about a spiritual war and being victims to being here on this planet at this time.
Yes, 10-4, I understand what you're saying. Switching over to body changes, it seems to have been a very active few days for us here on the ground. There seems to be a lot of eyesight changes we wanted to ask about regarding seeing what looks like static or black, grainy pixels in our eyesight. We were, is this just a generic upgrade, one of the many that we are all going through at this time?
It's not all. We would like to say many who have issues with their vision, it is us making them focus and really pay attention to what they can see, because often they are avoiding seeing what's right in front of them. Just like with hearing, for those, while it is upgrades and information that they're hearing in that static, it is also about them being reminded to listen to what you're hearing. You are still so used to routinely, blindly going through life. We're trying to wake you up, and we're doing it every which way we can, literally, because your sleeping is not going so well for you, is it? As you are noticing that changes of sleep is happening and wondering what is happening. We are making you notice big changes within your body and big changes within the environment to get your attention. There's no time for you to be lazy and sleep in anymore. And we say that as a joke. If you can forgive us for trying to laugh at what we are having to do to be able to help humanity at this time.
I understand what you're saying.
So also with many people are discovering that they've got a shortness in breath. When they start focusing on their breath, they start panicking that they're not breathing as they used to. So they're starting to panic themselves, which makes their breath change. Everything that is happening for your body is to get your body into the new routine. And so many people who are struggling to believe that the new changes are about to take place. Well, look at what your bodies are doing. Notice what your bodies are doing. Can we get your attention anymore? Obviously not, when people are still worried. And so the Ascension symptoms are to get your attention. Your Ascension symptoms are to upgrade you and to change you. You are the caterpillar that is wide awake, changing into a butterfly. Many of you assumed that you would be in the ships being transported to different locations for you to have that merge. We're getting you ready for it. We're getting your mindsets ready for it. We're getting everything ready for it. And so many people still think that it is just a change of mindset to enter into the fifth dimension. That's interesting for them, isn't it? How is that working out for them now? How can they explain everything else? Oh, that's right. Medical conditions. You must just have tinnitus. Oh, yes, you must have insomnia. Yes, that must be challenging for you. I wonder if you can get some pills for that to be able to help you with that. We are being facetious. We are being sarcastic. We are being at the end of our tolerance and patience for many, and we do not apologize. You've all come down here to awaken, and you should have been more awoken if this is a shock and if you're triggered by this at this point.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. Are there any other body anomalies that people seem to be tied up with or confused on that you would like to clear up besides what you've already said, which was very clear?
The energetic, electrical buzzing, tingling sensations within the body is very important for you to notice. It is going to keep growing as you are becoming more electrical. Your body is starting to work better and faster than ever before, and you're starting to really notice the energy that is buzzing within you. This is a very good sign that you are starting to acclimate into the higher frequency. You're almost having the Schumann resonance being read within you. If you only could see that you are connected to all, that would be great for you to understand why that is happening. Many people are still having to run to each other to see if they're normal. And we say you're all very individual. So why would you want to ask what is normal? But of course, there are many that are having these upgrades. So it's going to be quite possible that you will find a few having the same as you. If that helps you, then that is great. But if you are more self-empowered with your own experiences, trusting everything, trusting your teams are doing exactly what you need, you wouldn't need the reassurance of others. But yet you still do run to others to make sure that you're normal. You run to others assuming that they know what normal is and that they are normal. And you trust others being more normal than yourself. I think that is a problem there, wouldn't you say?
Yes, and I think a very obvious problem in the last week or few weeks that's become noticeable is people's lack of trust in their team. It's coming out in so many different ways, and you can almost tell just by looking at someone and how they are reacting
We want
if they
to
trust their team or not.
Well, we want to say that their true problem is they don't trust themselves versus their own team. So why would we be untrusting? We are the farmer. We are watching you. It's you that doesn't trust yourselves. So you're panicking and being victims to us while we're waiting for you to grow. So you're trying to make excuses. You're trying to blame us that you're not growing. And we're saying we've planted you. We're watching you now. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to grow, or are you going to blame us for not growing yourself? What do you think is going to be the response there? And so for those who are blaming us, for those who do not trust us, they're wasting their energy. Instead of growing, they're wasting their energy going dense. They're not, as we don't say it's, we're going to see if we can use another analogy or something else to be able to explain ourselves, to be able to be fully heard. Those who do not trust us do not trust themselves, do not feel us. They are dismissing all their body signs. They are dismissing what is going around. And they are distracting themselves in this density. That is their choices to choose to grow that way, or effectively not grow that way. But please do not judge those, because they may be original earthlings. So they are trying the best that they can. It is harder for them because they don't have the other reference points that other non-original earthlings have, because those starseeds have had less time here on this planet. It is challenging for the originals, much more so than the others. And yet the others still feel victimized coming here to be of service. They still complain about being here. Why is the wait so long? We want to kindly remind those it was your job and duty to help. So we'd like to remind you, what have you been doing to help?
Thank you. That was the last of my questions. You made so many good points. Do you have any final closing comments for us?
Well, we know many people are outraged that we're asking people to do their inner work and actually start being of service. We know that they are very indignant and disgusted and shocked that possibly we're asking them to do their life purpose and contracts that they agreed to do here. Some of them are so upset that we are calling them out because they know we were talking to them. They are outraged. They can't believe it, that we would see their distractions, that we would see the justifications of why they can't be of service. They're trying to justify it's hard for them. You don't understand because they've had some challenges. They've not always been supported here in this planet, don't we know? And we will say, yes, of course, that's all part of you overcoming it and growing from it and still being strong within yourselves. So anytime the wind blows, you want to say that we're just weak little plants. How possibly could we go stronger? And we're looking down at these plants right now. And while we're not comparing you to each other, we know the experiences that we need from you. We know what you are supposed to be doing here on this planet right now. You are supposed to be supporting each other also, and not just being little standalone plants. Supporting each other seems to be something that not that many people want to do, because they're still distracted by doing their inner work that they're slowly processing, as if they've got all the time in the world. And they wonder why there has been delays. They're genuinely confused about it. Doesn't humanity know they are important starseed beings who are here to hold the light? Why can't everyone else just follow with them? But what are you leading? You want people to follow you. What are you leading when you are keeping to yourself, not supporting and inspiring others to love themselves, to drop their own labels and baggage, to see things from a bigger perspective? Many light workers are expecting us to tell everyone this. When you know not that many listen to these sessions, they're waiting for someone else to do it, to someone else to share the truth, for someone else to do it. Can't possibly be them, can it? They've done their hard job, they've awoken. And what did we tell you at the beginning about your purpose here? Wasn't just to solely wake up for yourselves, was it? That's not the end goal here for you. It is much more than that. And many can't even struggle to manage to do that. And that is fine. It's not a judgment. We want to say that your farmer is the judger. Your farmer will see the value in what you've put in here. It is not about just wasting your days until it's done with. Are you using your days wisely? We feel that this is a very tough love conversation. And we want to acknowledge those who have thrived. We want to acknowledge those who have grown so strong and fast that they are supporting many around them, including themselves. They're growing and encouraging and inspiring. There are many that do listen to these sessions that are making us very proud. Unfortunately, of course, as the farmer is looking at those who are making them proud and seeing great growth and support and being of service, it is of course then making the weak plants look like the weak plants. This is not a competition, but you are here to help a planet. You are here to help humanity. You are not here to do an individual race for your own purpose. You are to be of service. And you already should have mastered your own inner work a long time ago to be able to step up into this now. So again, for those who have done their big work, for those who are of true service, we are so proud of you because we know the hurdles you've had to come and overcome. We will always support those who support us to be able to support humanity. We do not overlook you. We see you all. And we say this with much love.